Welcome to Intro to Robotics. I'm so excited you've chosen us to help you learn to build electronic circuits, work with the Raspberry Pi, write code in Python, and build a robot of your own. I know you're excited to get started, but please stay with me here for a few minutes while I explain to you how to get the most out of this course, including how to use the different types of learning materials and resources for each lesson, and we'll go over some tips to make your learning process smooth. I'll also go over some important troubleshooting tips as well as safety info because you're going to be working with electricity and we want to avoid harming your equipment. To use this course, you'll need to access this online classroom and you'll need the equipment kit for each level of the course. If you haven't received your equipment kits yet, those typically ship out within a few days. Be sure to check your email for the tracking number for your shipment. If you don't see that email, check your promotions and spam folders. So let's start with a tour of the online classroom. After you've watched this video and you're ready to dive in, you'll start with lesson A1. The lessons in this course build on each other to teach you the foundational electronics and coding skills you'll need to tackle increasingly complex projects. So it's very important to complete the lessons in order. Now, I'll start off each lesson by teaching you the important electronics and coding concepts you need to know, and that information is available in video form as well as in written form. Let's take a look at lesson A5 as an example. Here right at the top, you see the video for this lesson about switches. And then right underneath the video, you see the written lesson document. Now, I typically recommend that you watch all the teaching videos first for each lesson. And sometimes there's one of them, sometimes there are three, and then use the written lesson file to reinforce what you've learned. Now, that may mean you read through the entire document carefully, or that may mean you just review certain sections for additional clarity. Also, sometimes in the videos, I'll show you large information tables or code boxes and diagrams. All of those are also in the written lesson files, and so I recommend taking a few extra minutes to look through those carefully. Now, quick note, if you are the type of person who learns better reading information instead of listening to and watching a video, you're welcome to use the written lessons and not watch the videos at all. All the information for each lesson is contained in both places, so choose what works best for you. All right, let's look at the video. Now, when watching the videos, I have two quick tips for you. The first is that you can adjust the speed of the video right over here. Right there. If you want to hear me talk faster or slower, you have this option. Now, secondly, when you're watching a video, remember you can always pause the video, you can back up the video and watch some part again. You can even watch these videos as many times as you would like. Everyone learns at a different speed, and I encourage you to take your time working through these concepts. Okay, once you're done with the main lesson, it's time to move on to the activities, and you can find that right here. Many of the lessons have these optional activity overview videos available, and we're adding more of these each week. These videos allow you to watch us work through the activity and give you a better idea of the flow of the project. Now, a quick tip. Don't try to work along with us in the video. Electronics and coding require careful precision, and again, everyone will work at their own pace. So instead of the video, I'm going to suggest that you use the written instructions you'll find right here. These instructions include step-by-step directions and include high-quality pictures. It's actually a lot easier to see the correct placement for those tiny electronic components in a picture rather than a video. The instructions file will allow you to work carefully through the activity at your own pace. If you complete the activity and feel like you have a question or need some clarification, watch that overview video again. They can be a helpful supplement. Okay, once you've completed the activities, you'll move on to the checkpoint for the lesson, which will contain questions to help reinforce the concepts you've learned before you move on to the next lesson. Now, what if you have a question as you work through a lesson? Or what if one of the activities isn't working like it's supposed to? We are here to help. Okay, let's first talk briefly about the nature of electronics and coding and about troubleshooting. Electronics and coding are rather unforgiving. When you're building a circuit, each component must be placed in the exact correct breadboard hole. When you're writing code, even one character or space out of place, or a letter that was supposed to be lowercase instead of being capitalized, these types of things will mean that your code won't work. Now, there are very few things left in our society that require this level of precision. So this idea of needing to be really careful with every tiny part and make sure everything is set up exactly as it's supposed to be, this might take some getting used to. But here's the thing. 95% of the help requests our team answer each day end up being an electrical component placed in the wrong location or a tiny error in the code. Now, we can help you with that, but if you have a situation where your circuit or code isn't working, I would recommend that you stop and very carefully go back through and make sure every electrical component is in the exact location it should be and every character of the code is correct. It can also be a good idea to have someone else in your house with a fresh set of eyes take a look too. While we try to get back to you quickly when you email us, finding the error yourself is likely going to be a bit faster and get you back on track more quickly than waiting to hear from our team. But of course, if after careful inspection of your circuit and code, you're still stumped, please reach out to us at support@42electronics.com. We are here to help you. Before you dive in, let's quickly go over some important safety tips for working with fragile electronic components and electricity. First, leave the kit components in their packages and in the box. I know it's tempting to pull everything out and look at it, but I promise they are safer in the box. We've carefully marked the components and stored them in appropriate ways to prevent damage. Taking them out, potentially mixing them up, or introducing static to an ESD-sensitive part can cause big problems. Wait until it's time to use each specific part in an activity before removing it from the box. When you're done with the activity, carefully place the components back in their packages so they're ready the next time you need them. Next, follow the instructions for each activity very carefully. Placing a component in the wrong place or backwards, for example, can permanently damage the component, the other components in the circuit, the breadboard, and even potentially the Raspberry Pi. If you're working on a circuit and something is getting warm or hot, immediately remove the power. There are a few reasons the components may have been getting warm, but you'll sort that out later. The immediate concern is to remove power before permanent damage is done to the components or the Raspberry Pi. So that's it for now. Once your equipment kits arrive, go ahead and get started on lesson A1, where I'll start teaching you to build electronic circuits.